There's something oddly poetic about spending thousands on a digital spaceship that can cross star systems in minutes, only to watch it sit empty because a freight elevator won't respond to the call button. Years of development, millions in funding, countless features promised, yet somehow the humble freight elevator remains an unconquered frontier. When scrolling through feedback on Spectrum forums, nothing captures the collective exhaustion better than that one perfect comment. Right now, the total sum of my desires is to get the damn freight elevators to work. You know that moment, standing at Area 18's cargo terminal, watching the terminal process your purchase. Your bank account just got lighter by several hundred thousand AUEC. The cargo manifest shows successful processing. You hit the elevator call button, and wait, and wait. Then that sinking feeling hits as you realize this particular elevator has chosen today to join the Great Elevator Strike of 2953. 10 minutes pass, the server's running smoothly, no 30,000 warnings in sight. You've done everything right. Your ship sits empty on the landing pad while your cargo sits somewhere in digital limbo. Maybe if you press the button again? Maybe if you... Nope, still nothing. Another trading run sacrificed to the elevator gods. Star Citizen 1.0 represents that mythical finish line we've all been chasing. The point where your progression actually sticks, where the universe finally becomes persistent, where your actions leave a lasting mark. The roadmap lays out dozens of features planned for this milestone, from engineering gameplay to entire new star systems. The transition from the current Alpha 4.2.1 to a proper 1.0 release isn't just a version number change. It's a fundamental shift in how we'll interact with the game. No more quarterly wipes erasing your fleet, your reputation, your carefully accumulated resources. The game will transform from an endless testing cycle into a persistent universe where decisions have lasting consequences. Everything you do will finally matter. Your reputation gains, your criminal record, your exploration discoveries, all permanently tied to your character's journey through the stars. But this persistence cuts both ways. When your cargo vanishes into the void because an elevator decided today wasn't your day, that loss will be real. That's the double-edged sword of permanence in a universe still struggling with fundamental systems. The engineering gameplay slated for 1.0 goes far beyond what most players imagine when they hear ship systems. You won't just be adjusting power sliders, you'll be crawling through maintenance tunnels, physically replacing damaged components, and fighting fires that spread in real time through your vessel. Imagine being mid-quantum jump when an overheating power plant threatens to shut down your drive. You'll need to physically move through your ship to the engineering section, use the multi-tool to open access panels, and manually vent excess heat while your pilot holds the failing jump together. Or picture this, a distortion blast hits your ship, overloading key components. You'll use the new charge and drain functionality to siphon off that excess energy before it causes catastrophic failures. The life support systems will require actual maintenance, replacing CO2 scrubbers, managing oxygen levels, potentially venting compartments to contain fires. This creates genuine specialization within crews, roles that matter beyond just manning a turret. When your ship takes damage, you won't just watch a health bar decrease. You'll see systems fail in sequence, forcing split-second triage decisions about what can be fixed and what must be sacrificed. That depth of simulation would be impressive in a single-player game. In an MMO with players coordinating these systems across capital ships, it's either going to be the most engaging multi-crew experience ever created, or the most elaborate way to frustrate your friends when someone forgets to close an access panel. How many screenshots have you taken of your cargo disappearing through solid floors? How many times have you had that moment of pure frustration when the elevator arrives empty despite the terminal showing your cargo as delivered? The freight elevator problem has become such a universal experience that it transcends mere bug status. It's practically a cultural touchstone for the community, a shared trauma that binds us together. Meanwhile, CIG continues expanding the universe with 3 entire star systems planned for 1.0. Nyx awaits as the frontier system, the Wild West where law enforcement exists mostly as a rumor. A perfect haven for those with questionable cargo and even more questionable methods. Castro promises a military-industrial complex, with UEE Navy presence providing security but also scrutiny. And Terra, the jewel of the Empire, where politics and commerce intertwine amid gleaming architecture and cultural centers. Each system bringing its own environmental challenges, faction dynamics, and economic opportunities. The contrast is striking. A universe expanding outward while basic functionality still struggles to catch up. The planned content instancing technology exposes an uncomfortable truth about development priorities. While basic systems like cargo transfer remain problematic, CIG continues designing sophisticated new gameplay loops like the Depths, procedurally generated dungeon environments beneath major landing zones. Picture this. Beneath ArcCorp's endless urban sprawl lies a forgotten underworld of maintenance tunnels, abandoned research facilities, and criminal hideouts. You'll form a team, gear up, and descend through increasingly dangerous levels, facing AI enemies that grow more challenging the deeper you go. The system remembers your progress, allowing you to push further with each expedition, collecting unique loot and uncovering hidden narratives along the way. The Genesis tech they're developing will transform how environments are created. No more cookie-cutter outposts repeated across planetary surfaces. Instead, settlement patterns will follow logical rules based on resources, topography, and human behavior. Mining operations will naturally develop supporting communities. Trading posts will emerge at logical crossroads. Pirate bases will hide in areas difficult to patrol. The environmental storytelling potential is enormous. You'll understand a location's history and purpose just by observing the relationship between structures and landscape. It's genuinely impressive technology, and yet somehow, the humble elevator, a technology humans mastered over a century ago, continues to vex the development team. The question isn't whether these ambitious systems will be impressive, it's whether they'll function reliably when the fundamentals still don't. That trading run last week at Bajini Point still stings. Everything aligned perfectly, a market anomaly showing Laranite prices at a historic low, while New Babbage was paying premium rates. A fresh server with no sign of the dreaded desync. Global chat unusually quiet, with no reports of pirates camping the trade lanes. That rare cosmic alignment of circumstances that cargo haulers dream about, but seldom experience. 600,000 credits invested. Nearly everything in your account. The terminal processed the transaction smoothly. The first elevator arrived promptly, carrying your initial batch of cargo up to your waiting constellation. You called it back for the second load and nothing. The elevator indicator showed movement briefly, then froze between floors. You tried every known workaround, changing servers, contacting station services, begging in global chat for anyone with developer connections. 5 different players responded with variations of, "Same thing happened to me there yesterday," and "That elevator's been bugged all week." The crushing realization settled in. Those hours spent building up capital were wasted. The cargo was gone, the credits were gone, and your trading run was over before it began. Even worse was the reaction from veteran players. Not surprise or outrage, but a knowing nod. A collective shrug that said, "Welcome to cargo hauling in Star Citizen." One player in global chat summed it up perfectly. "I've graduated college, gotten married, had 2 kids, and watched one of my original co-backers pass away from old age, all while waiting for these elevators to work consistently." The planned features for 1.0 feel almost comically ambitious, given the current state of basic infrastructure. Dynamic server meshing will fundamentally transform how the game functions at a technical level. Instead of fixed server assignments, the technology spins resources up and down based on player density. Your ship could become its own server instance during complex multi-crew operations, seamlessly transitioning between larger server zones as you travel. A major space battle might spawn dedicated server resources just for that conflict, while quiet areas of space can serve resources with larger boundaries. This should allow thousands of players to exist in the same universe without traditional instancing barriers. The StarSim economy will track supply and demand across the entire universe, creating genuine market forces based on player activities. If miners flood a region with resources, prices drop naturally. If pirates disrupt shipping lanes, insurance rates climb, and cargo contracts pay more to compensate for the risk. Death of a spaceman will finally give consequence to your actions. Injuries will leave lasting marks. Severe trauma might require cybernetic replacements, and eventually, permanent death will force you to pass your legacy to an heir character. The technology to transfer ownership of ships, both legally and through criminal means, will create new gameplay loops around theft and recovery. Citizenship, reputation systems, guild affiliations, all these interconnected systems promise a universe where your choices genuinely matter, all built atop fundamental systems that still struggle with the seemingly simple task of moving cargo from point A to point B within the same station. It's like watching someone design an elaborate 3-story addition for a house while the foundation is still setting. The Star Citizen community has developed a unique coping mechanism over the years, a blend of gallows humor, stubborn optimism, and occasional bouts of existential dread. We've watched roadmaps come and go, features appear and disappear, and deadlines transform from concrete dates to nebulous suggestions to unspoken possibilities. The forums are filled with posts that could be read as either biting sarcasm or genuine excitement, sometimes intentionally blurring the line between the two. I'm building generational wealth for my family to inherit when 1.0 releases. writes one player, simultaneously expressing hope for the future while acknowledging the seemingly endless wait. Veterans reminisce about the early days at Port Olisar, when the universe was smaller but oddly more functional. Players debate whether engineering systems will enhance immersion or transform exciting space combat into tedious maintenance simulation. Engineering sounds like turning gameplay into a chore. I want to fly ships, not crawl through crawl spaces fixing fuses, writes one skeptic. Another counters with genuine enthusiasm. This is exactly what I want. A true multi-crew experience with specialized roles. Longtime backers have witnessed a parade of celebrated features arrive with fanfare only to be quietly abandoned or indefinitely reworked. They've developed an ability to simultaneously believe in the project's potential while maintaining a healthy skepticism about its execution. It's not blind faith or bitter cynicism, but something uniquely in between. A relationship as complex as the game itself. What should you actually expect from Star Citizen 1.0 based on the current roadmap and development patterns? The engineering gameplay will transform ships from simple vehicles into complex machines requiring active management. Components will fail under stress, fires will spread through compartments, and multi-crew coordination will become essential rather than optional. 3 new star systems will dramatically expand the playable universe, each offering distinct environments and faction dynamics. The crafting and base building systems will let you establish personal outposts on planets and construct space stations in unclaimed areas, allowing you to transition from a visitor in the universe to a permanent resident with territorial investments. The dynamic economy will respond to player activities, creating genuine market forces where your actions directly affect resource values. Death will finally have meaning beyond a simple respawn timer, with injuries leaving permanent marks on your character until eventual permadeath forces a legacy transfer. When might all this come together? Based on current development velocity and feature scope, sometime between 2027 and 2029 seems most realistic, though longtime backers know better than to mark any specific date on their calendars. The question isn't whether these systems would create an incredible game experience, they absolutely would, but whether they can be implemented reliably when fundamental systems like freight elevators still malfunction regularly after years of development. The roadmap to 1.0 isn't just a list of features, it's a test of whether CIG can finally prioritize stability and functionality over ever-expanding scope. Star Citizen's journey toward 1.0 represents gaming's longest relationship status. It's complicated. The roadmap outlines the most ambitious space simulation ever conceived, if it all comes together as planned. Which feature from this sprawling vision captures your imagination most? Are you looking forward to the depth of the engineering gameplay, the freedom of base building, or the consequences of the death of a Spaceman system? Or would you trade all those fancy features for elevators that just work every time? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Whether you're a day one backer with a hangar full of concept ships, or someone watching from the sidelines waiting for more stability before jumping in, every comment this month enters you for a chance to win a Prowler utility ship with lifetime insurance and a complete game package. Everything you need to start your Star Citizen journey once those elevators decide to cooperate. The path to Star Citizen 1.0 continues to be paved with ambitious promises, technical challenges, and yes, malfunctioning freight elevators. Whether you've been following since the original Kickstarter or just discovered the project recently, the scale of what CIG is attempting remains undeniably impressive. Between now and that eventual 1.0 release, we'll see many of these planned features implemented incrementally through the quarterly patch system. The current 4.2.1 build already hints at what's coming with its cooperative zones and resource drive missions. The community will continue its love-hate relationship with development, celebrating each new addition while lamenting each persistent bug. And somewhere in a developer's task list buried beneath flashier features sits ticket number 4273, Fix Freight Elevator Reliability. Here's hoping it gets addressed before we can build our own space stations. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown valuable, consider supporting the channel through subscribing. And remember, no matter how fancy your ship or how elaborate your trading empire becomes, always keep one eye on that elevator status indicator.